Okay. Welcome to our fourth grief circle. Our theme this week is grief as a teacher. And as I was preparing for class, I was reflecting on what I have learned through grief over the years. My earliest memory of grief was my grandfather's funeral. And that was my first experience of grieving in community. It was incredibly powerful. I was with my family for an entire week. We are of Irish Catholic descent. And there are many rituals and routines that are practiced during that week, including rosaries and a wake and lots of beautiful and difficult moments to get through. And during that week, I learned so much about letting go. I learned about letting go of judgment primarily because I understood the importance of silly family quibbles and how they weren't really necessary in that moment. And I learned that true joy and beauty can be present during such a sad time. And that was really, really, really powerful. I'm also reminded of when I lived in New York City and I experienced grief in community through a drum circle that my friend and I fell upon as we were walking from uptown to downtown on our way back to Brooklyn. And we were stopped in our tracks at Union Square where a spontaneous drum circle had come together. I didn't really understand it at the time other than I just thought it was beautiful and unusual and I needed to get home and I didn't really understand what had just happened, and so I just kept going. And we walked across the bridge and watched the sunset, and it was a day I'll never forget. And with this training, I've learned the importance of grieving in community. Fast forward to when we lost my brother-in-law. I experienced Southern hospitality and grieving in community when a friend called the next morning and said, "When are people coming over?" And I said to myself, I guess people are coming over. And I got ready and I opened our home and I quickly put up boundaries and said, okay, we'll grieve as a family from 8 a.m. till noon, and then so-and-so will bring lunch, and then we'll grieve in community from 1 to 4, and then we'll come back as a family. And that's that beautiful fluctuation that we've practiced in our asana practice, right? The reaching out to others and grieving in a communal way, and then saying thank you, but I need to be by myself. I need to retreat, and finding that beautiful balance in both. So grief as a teacher is our practice today, and we will move now into our centering meditation. So just taking a moment to close your eyes, find your seat, begin to connect with your breath. Letting go of anything that happened before this moment. And letting go of any fears or expectations for after this moment. Truly allowing yourself to be present. And I invite you to connect with your physical body. I invite you to take a scan of your physical body from the top of your head all the way down to your toes and everything in between. And just noticing your physical body. Notice what is talking to you in your physical body. Notice what might be coming up. And really taking a moment to Notice without judgment. That is our practice. And then I invite you to notice in the physical body if there are any emotions that may be coming up. We're shifting into our emotional body now. Emotional body. Noticing emotions that may be coming up or not coming up. Noticing without judgment our emotional body. And then we shift into mental body, our thoughts, our beliefs, maybe even our judgments. Noticing mental body. And then we shift into spiritual body, connecting perhaps to higher power, whatever that may be for you, higher purpose. Maybe it's the best version of yourself. It's that inner knowing, spiritual body. And then we shift into our whole body and just noticing our physical body, emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body. And bringing all of those pieces together. Thank you so much for being here. For our whole body. Good. So just taking a moment to arrive with this. Physical body. Emotional body. Mental body. Spiritual body. Coming together. Whole body. Remembering our intention today, grief as a teacher. And I invite you in this centering meditation to find an intention for your practice today. What would you like to experience? What would you like to notice? What is your intention today? And then I slowly invite you to open your eyes as we shift into our journal prompt. What has grief taught you? We will take a few more moments here to jot down a few ideas. I will mention that this is our second attempt as the first few moments of our class were not recorded. So some people have already had a moment to write in their journals. If you haven't, please take that time and I'll give you about 2 more minutes for writing. And our journal prompt, as I mentioned before, is what has grief taught you? What has grief taught you? So beginning to wrap up our journals on what has grief taught you. And I'd like to open our sharing circle. The sharing circle is open, and whoever would like to begin may begin. Okay.
Grief has taught me that it's okay not to be okay, and one person's grief is not to be compared to another's. Grief knows no time, has no end, and can surface again even when it has been silent for a while.
Thank you for sharing, my Lise. I'm so glad that you're here today.
Thank you.
I know that being a realtor, Sundays are very challenging to be present. So I'm so thankful to you for being here.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you so much. So to reflect what you shared, it sounds like grief has taught you that there is no right or wrong way to grieve, that it's unique to each person.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit of the second part of your share?
Yes. Grief has no timeline, has no end, and can surface even when it has been silent for a while.
That grief has no timeline and that it can surface even when it has been quiet for a while.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful. Would you mind sharing your intention?
My intention is to be present, breathe deeply, and to know that all will be okay.
To be present, to breathe deeply, and to know that all will be okay.
Yes.
Let's hold this with mindfulness. Taking a moment for our falling out breath. Thank you, Marlies. And whoever would like to go next.
I can go next.
Beautiful. Thank you, Leslie.
Yeah. So hopefully this isn't too long. So my intention is to pay attention to the whispers. They're all little messages that teach us. So prior to coming over here, I actually met with a friend's daughter. This particular friend just lost her husband last weekend, and then I had texted her daughter and said, "You need somebody just."
Yes.
So she did. I'm sitting here, and I look at your wall, and it's her. It's a mirror image. This poster is the girl.
My goodness.
And so I'm sitting here, and I'm grieving with her for our friend's husband, which you know, and her dad. And I'm sitting here thinking, what are the messages? I've just had this moment, and then I'm here in a grief circle, and I'm looking at the picture that could be her. Same hair, same skin color, same everything. So, I think, so there's the intention. So what has it taught me? So I think without grief, would we know joy? Would we take pause to reflect on the beauty that existed without grief, prior to grief? So grief gives us gratitude. We avoid grief because of physical pain that it can cause. It's important to let go of control. If we push through the physical pain and try to remember the why behind grief, we usually can find the beauty on the other side. So grief has also shown me that I'm strong and I can get through grief. It forces me to slow down, pay attention to the why behind my fear, and it helps me get through the grief process. It's also taught me that we are all human. We all want to be understood and connected. So to take time to slow down, listen to the whispers and connect.
Oh,
So,
thank you, Leslie. That was
Yeah.
such a moving share. I'm just going to take a moment to
Yeah.
pause and just take that in for a moment. So it sounds like you're listening for the whispers. And it sounds like before you arrived here, you met with the daughter of a friend who just lost her husband very recently. It sounds like it was last weekend. And it sounds like your intention was to listen to the whispers and to notice. And I believe you noticed something right in front of you in our room here. It is it's a picture. It's a diversity picture that also reminds me of my daughter. And it sounds like you saw the young lady in this poster, and that really resonated with you in this present moment. It literally is facing you. Oh, and it sounds like you're learning lots of lessons from grief. And one thing I heard you mention was letting go of control. Would you repeat your intention, please?
Yeah, the intention is just to pay attention to the whispers. They're often messages that can teach us. And so as I grieve through this process for my friend, for my friend's daughter, for my own loss, to me, it doesn't seem to be so ironic that here I am immediately after sitting with this person, that I'm in a grief circle and I'm looking at a picture that is telling me, like, the universe is whispering and I'm trying to listen. So that's
Beautiful.
how to be present, how to let go of control.
So Leslie's intention is listening to the whispers, being present, letting go of control. Let's hold this with Leslie. Taking a falling out breath when you are ready. Thank you, Leslie. Whenever you're ready.
Letting go, grief is a teacher. Grief has taught me letting go, taking care, taking each day at a time. I am learning through grief to be more gentle with myself, which means taking each day at a time. I'm also learning to hold space when I need to be sad. It's okay to be sad, and then I can move forward to that. And then holding space for gratitude and things in my life through this difficult time of pain and sickness and loss. Identifying and being grateful for things and the people and friends that have been there for me. And that has been very helpful. I've been meditating a little bit in the morning and at night, instead of like scrolling on my phone or worrying about this project I need to do or worrying about this, and taking time to really be present. And that has really helped me in my grief, and just coping, because it turns off that endless cycle of worrying that I tend to get, and also turns off I worry and then I think, oh, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, oh, I should have done it this way. And that's not constructive or helpful to me or my family. So the meditating kind of breaks that, and then I can kind of get up and do something, like go for a walk or do something in my home that I need to do. So my intention is to learning to let go and to handle and to finding positive things through this trauma and grief and moving forward with them each day. And that means some days I'll have good days and some days I might not have good days. And I'm right now having more good days than bad, or there's starting to be more good days than bad days. So just keeping mindful of the positive things. So that's, I think, my intention. Sorry, that was long.
No, absolutely no apologies necessary. Thank you, Jamie. That was a beautiful share, in just the right amount of time. Thank you for sharing. It sounds like you're creating space for grief in your life, and it sounds like you are noticing some of the lessons that grief has taught you, and that you're beginning to let go of control. And you've made some choices in your life. For example, being more kind to yourself, more gracious to yourself first, and that you are making small changes like meditating, and instead of scrolling choices, I hear you making. At the end of the day, where maybe perhaps sometimes there would be some thinking, instead you're doing a meditation and working through some of the grief through this action. And it sounds like through this action of meditation that has further cleared some things for you. And it sounds like you're having more good days than bad days. That's awesome. It sounds like you're making really great progress, and that you have a really awesome support network around you. Would you be so kind as to repeat your intention?
My intention is letting go, taking each day at a time, and holding space, for hope, love, and growth.
So letting go of control and holding space for hope, love, and growth. Let's hold that with Jamie. Just taking a moment, taking your falling out breath when you're ready. Thank you so much for sharing, Jamie. Rebecca.
Okay, it's sort of all over the place, so let me see if I can organize this a little in my head. Grief has taught me the importance of community, being with others, especially if they're feeling grief as well, but even if they're not. The importance of rituals, funerals, vigils, coming together in some way that marks the loss together. Thinking back, my first time when I really felt like how grief can affect you in your body, just the physicality of grief, it's so funny. When the Challenger exploded, I was in the 7th grade, and we were so excited. We were watching it on TV, and this happened, and it was just so, I felt it in my body for sure the first time. I'd been to funerals and stuff before, but you know, for somebody who was like 98 years old and I hardly knew, so not that that's not sad. Yeah, and that physicality, I think really, like that, and then, you know, other things that happened, 9/11 definitely, but it didn't have to be me who was directly affected. There could be community grief. But that physicality, I think, broke through in some way to me, and really helped me understand you can't just think your way through things. You really feel it, and if you stop resisting, almost go towards it, maybe that helps process things a little bit. So, and just how emotions are not separate from the body. Your emotions are 100% part of the whole. and that makes us human. So moving on to my intention, y'all know I've talked about my son and his continuing problems with his health and the aftermath of the deaths of his two friends. And he just told me he's lost 21 pounds this semester. He does not have 21 pounds to lose. So this coming week is his spring break. So he was planning to just ski with his friends, but I'm flying him home for a few days. We're gonna do some testing at the doctor's. Part of me is almost hoping it's a gallstone or something, just because then there'll be an answer. But anyway, the one thing that's occurred to me through the course of journaling right now, thinking about how physical grief can be, and that he's 100% experiencing that in real time, and that I need to be brave and not just put on my let's fix it hat, but I'll have those real conversations with him about his grieving, and just talk about it, and it's, he's gonna be really uncomfortable. I'll be uncomfortable. Not what we do, really. But just some recognition that he's continuing to grieve, and that is, I intend this week, my intention is to have some courageous conversations with my son about grieving. And that's the intention, but I would like to say separately from the intention, so you don't have to repeat this part. This grief circle, the sharing, this process has really helped me feel like I am a little better equipped to have those conversations with him, and just coming at it from a compassionate place. So,
Thank you.
That was a lot.
It was just the right amount.
Okay.
It was just right. Thank you, goodness, wow. Oh gosh, thank you, Rebecca, for sharing. I'm just gonna take a moment. And then I'd like to reflect some of what you shared. Wow, you made some really great connections with grief in your body. And I heard you remembering your first experience with grief really clearly, with the Challenger exploding. I believe you were in 7th grade. And it sounds like you felt that in your body at that time, that it was a real-time experience. And then as you've moved through your life, you've noticed the importance of grieving in community, the rituals and those things that are in place to help support us during the grief process. You've made connections continually. I've heard you describe making connections through your life with the physical experience of grief. And you've been so kind to share with us the experience of your son, who has lost 2 friends to death by suicide. And you have shared his journey and how he is physically grieving, and that has resulted in him losing 21 pounds. And your words, not mine, it sounds like he doesn't have 21 pounds to lose. And then you mentioned that he wanted to ski with his friends for spring break, and you have made a decision that he's going to come home, and that you're going to take some tests. You even mentioned that there was a hope that maybe it was something as simple as a gallbladder stone, or something tangible that you can fix. And you mentioned that that's maybe your default, the fixing, being in that mental body. But I also saw you noticing that that is your default, and that through this circle you have learned some techniques that have already helped you, and that you believe will continue to help you as you prepare to have some really difficult conversations with your son. Some conversations that are going to be uncomfortable. And it sounds like you're up for it. It sounds like you're ready. Oh, would you be so kind as to repeat your intention?
My intention is to be brave and show up with my son for his grieving. as fully as I can.
To be brave, to show up for your son during his grieving. Let's hold this intention with Rebecca, taking a falling out breath when you're ready. Wow. Thank you all so much. That was really powerful. We're going to move into our asana practice. So just taking a moment to come to your mat when you're ready. Take your time. I'm going to adjust the temperature a little bit, giving us a little more warmth, and then I will meet you. I will meet you on my mat, and you will be on yours, and we will practice our physical asana practice. So let's give just a moment. So arriving at our mats when we're ready, we'll begin in our child's pose. Just taking a moment to come in, connecting with your body, connecting with your grief. I invite you to connect with your body, with your breath, in child's pose. And when you're ready, I invite you to walk your hands out and over to the right side. Placing your left hand on top of your right hand, breathing into the left side of your body. Taking some time here to experience any discomfort, noticing it and breathing through. And I invite you to come back to center. Taking a few moments here just to arrive. And then I invite you to walk your hands out and over to the other side, the left side, right hand on left hand, breathing into the right side of the body, your body. Again, noticing any feelings that are coming up, breathing into them. Letting go, coming back to center, rocking onto hands and knees. I invite you to move in and out through your cat and your cow. Just beginning to warm up your body with this gentle movement. And feeling the support that is here for you, physical support right underneath you as you move through. And I invite you to move in a way that suits your body in this moment. Any way, any adjustments, anything that you need to move through, to explore, to be. Beautiful. And when you're ready, we'll do some threading of the needle. Inhale, I invite you to reach your right hand up toward the sky, opening your heart. And on the exhale, folding in, threading the needle, landing on that right shoulder, your right shoulder. And I invite you to really commit to this moment, allowing your body to melt into this deeper stretch. Breathing and releasing. Beautiful. Coming back. Counter stretch, reaching it back up. And coming to center before we do the other side, I like to take a few cat-cow to flush out the spine, your spine. And then we'll move over to the other side. Inhaling your left arm up to the sky. Exhaling, left fingertips underneath your right armpit and melting into the threading of the needle. Releasing and stretching the left shoulder. Beautiful breathing here. Oh. Notice if there's anything else in your body you could release or let go of before we come out of the pose. Awesome. And then slowly rocking up. Gentle counter twist is how we started. And bring it back to center. And let's move and groove a little bit, rocking in and out. From child's pose to your upward facing dog. I encourage you to really energize your fingertips as you move. Remembering this is your practice. This is your body. So do what suits you. I'm here to make some suggestions. But ultimately it's up to you and your body to do what feels right. Connecting or letting go whenever you need to. So you may want to try coming into your downward facing dog if that suits you today. If not, find your child's pose or any other movement that you enjoy. For your down dog, I encourage you to open up your hands nice and wide, pressing your fingertips into the earth. Gently wagging your tail left and right. And then moving in the way that will wake up your downward facing dog. I like to move in and out of child's pose and down dog. But feel free to find what feels best for you, maybe opening up your hips. And if it's too much on your wrists, you can find a very energized pose to open hips from hands and knees. And it's a little bit safer on your wrists. Beautiful body, beautiful movement. Finding your breath in the present moment. Oh. And when you're ready, we're going to move from wherever you are to the front of our mats. I like to move through down dog. But find what feels best for your body. And as we arrive at the top of your mat, I invite you to walk your feet off the mat, hanging over, holding on to your opposite elbows, shaking your head yes. Shaking your head no. Releasing your arms until they no longer touch your mat. So you're rolling up just a little bit and we'll take a whole shaking out of the upper body. It's called ragdoll. Ooh, goodness. Slipped on my yoga pants. And just kind of shake it out. Beautiful. I invite you to slowly roll it up one vertebra at a time. Allowing your arms to float up, bringing it back through center. We're gonna take a big exhale. Good, through our goddess pose, your goddess pose. Inhale, reach it up. beautiful, powerful goddess pose, just feeling the power that you have in your body in this moment. Opening yourself up to community, we'll take cactus arms, feeling our hearts open, breathing here, feeling the vulnerability, and just breathing into it. And then honoring and letting go, knowing there are times we need to retreat, coming back in, contracting in whatever way feels best for you, perhaps a forward fold. And we'll practice pulsating in and out. Just as we practice our grief, community, reaching out, self-care, coming back in, and understanding the importance and the balance of both. Taking a moment to land, to check in with your body in this moment. Just notice how this practice is resonating or not resonating with you today. I'm trying to notice without judgment, just simply notice as you breathe. Good. We're going to take one more goddess pose, noticing if this feels a little different than the first one we took after the pulsating. This can be as big or as small as you like. A goddess pose can be a gentle, gentle bend in the knees. It's still powerful. Or it can be all the way down. Maybe if your knees are healthy and you're feeling okay, you walk the feet closer together a little bit. Take a nice, deep hip stretch here. I encourage you to, if this feels healthy, and let it go at any time if it doesn't. I encourage you to reach your knees out. Maybe pulsating one side open and then the other for beautiful deep. Hip stretch, awesome. Good, and when you're ready to let that go, pressing the hands into your mat for support. Feel that beautiful support you're giving yourself. And then slowly rolling up, we prepare for our sun salutations, coming through prayer. And let's meet at the top of our mats. Looking down, lifting all 10 toes up off the ground and placing them back down. Tucking your tailbone under, rolling the shoulder blades back. I like to clasp hands together behind you. Feel your shoulder blades reaching toward each other as you open up through your heart center. Notice how that's opening up, creating space to breathe, creating space to just be. And then let that go. I invite you to allow that spaciousness to continue throughout your practice. As you bring your hands to heart center, and exhale, release. Inhale, reach your arms up, gentle back bend. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold, your heart leads you. Relaxing your chin to chest. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. I invite you to bring your right foot back for crescent pose, feeling a beautiful stretch through the back of your right leg. I like to bring my left hand to left thigh, reaching your right fingertips up. Feel the support you are finding within yourself. Beautiful. And then we open up into your warrior two. Let's move this up and down. Breathing in, out. Landing when you're ready, the full expression of your warrior two pose. Beautiful. Gazing behind you, looking at your right fingertips. Open your palm, reaching towards the past, honoring what you have learned from the past, and letting go of anything that is no longer serving you. Slowly moving through towards your front left hand, opening the palm, This is your future. Gathering what you need from the future, being open to the lessons that you may be learning in the future, but letting go of any anxiety or trepidation, let it go. And bring your hands to center. Deeply moving into the pose as you connect with your breath, connect with your body in the present moment. Beautiful. And then I invite you to come back to Warrior Two. We're going to let go of our weapons and we're going to move in a different direction. Peaceful Warrior. Beautiful. And then slowly coming into triangle pose. I like to really think about twisting through your center body. I like to gaze down so I'm not hurting my neck. Reaching your fingertips up towards the sky and slowly bringing your gaze up when you're ready. Letting it go if it's hurting your neck at any time. Awesome. Reaching your fingertips above your head, bringing your hands to the inside of your left foot, releasing onto your right knee, and breathing. Let's find some gentle movement here. It can be as big or as small as you like. And bringing your left knee to your right knee and pressing back for child's pose or down dog if you need something more. And taking 5 deep cleansing breaths here. When you're ready, coming onto your hands and knees, pressing back for your downward facing dog, and walking your feet towards your hands. Slowly, slowly roll it up. And just let your hands float up, bringing it back through center. Just standing mountain pose. Beautiful. Inhale to heart. Exhale, release. Inhale, reach past your comfort zone. And exhale, gather all that information, bring it inside and release it down to the ground. Good, bring your left foot back for crescent pose on the left side. Bringing your right hand to your right thigh, reaching left fingertips up to the sky, reaching your right fingertips up. And just arriving here in this powerful pose. Finding your breath in this moment. Beautiful. Opening up. Finding your Warrior Two on the other side. Beautiful. Bending your front knee deeply. Reflecting once again. Gazing back. Opening hand to pass. Gathering what is needed, letting go of what is not, deeply bending, gazing toward the future, opening up to possibilities, holding on and letting go of fear and what you don't need, bringing your hands to center. Beautiful moment, present moment. And just noticing the power of your body, of your breath, as you move through these lessons that we have learned through our grief. And slowly coming back deeper into your Warrior Two. And we're going to release our weapons, move into the opposite direction. Peaceful Warrior. Awesome. Reaching and breathing, and then slowly coming back to your center and preparing for triangle pose and reaching forward. Your right hand on the inside of your right leg, reaching your left fingertips up, twisting through your center body, creating space, finding your breath, just noticing. Beautiful, slowly coming out of your triangle pose, transitioning back to the ground, left knee, your left knee on the ground, and a gentle movement forward and back in this lunge. You can bring your hands to the inside of the foot or bring the hands on either side, whatever feels better for you. I like the deep stretch of bringing my hands inside, but listen to your body. Notice what feels better. Play around with it a little bit. Beautiful, and I invite you to find your way back to downward facing dog. This time, try walking your hands towards your feet as you bend your knees deeply and slowly roll it up. Allowing your arms to float. And finding your way back through center. We're just going to take a gentle moment to move from one side to the other. I encourage you to find something that is going to be your spot. That is something that's not moving that you're going to focus your gaze or your drishti on. And when you're ready, I invite you to come onto your right leg for a tree pose. It can be a small pose just at your ankle, or it can be a full expression of the pose. Standing on one leg, honoring that this is a practice. It takes time. Imagining the deep, deep roots of your tree, of the support you are receiving in your community. And then imagine reaching up and out, connecting. They say that trees communicate and talk to each other just through their root system and the presence of their branches. It's pretty amazing to think about that. Good. And then just let that go, shake it out. Release it, and find your way to that gentle rock, left and right. And we'll come on to your left leg whenever you're ready, finding your tree pose on your left side. And honoring that one side is going to be easier than the other. Beautiful. Growing your tree, challenging your balance, understanding the importance of being flexible as the wind blows through, and then beginning again if you lose your balance. Let it go whenever you're ready. This is my new favorite pose, so I'm just throwing this in. This is called Tom Tom Drum. And it's like Tai Chi, Qigong, and I think it just is what I need in my life today. So I'm spontaneously doing this pose, and I invite you to do anything that spontaneously feels good for you in this moment, any kind of movement, anything you need. There's no right or wrong, just connect. And then pause and notice how that free movement resonates in your body in this moment. And we'll bring it down to the ground. Inhaling to heart. Exhale, release. Inhale, reach. Exhale, dive. Inhale, look. Exhale, let go. Slowly, slowly bending the knees, your knees. And slowly coming down to your back. Hugging your knees to your chest. And rocking out your lower back. Releasing any tension in the lower back. I invite you to bring your knees together and begin to draw small circles in one direction. Reverse in the opposite direction. I invite you to reach your fingertips and your toes up to the sky. And I invite you to vigorously shake your arms and legs. Just shake out anything that is no longer serving you in this moment. And we'll breathe together. Big inhale. Ah. One more. Ah. And just pause. I invite you to notice any vibrations you may be feeling as we take one last gentle stretch of your choice before we come into Shavasana, our final resting pose. As we prepare for Shavasana, please feel free to put on your socks, gather any blankets. Raise a hand if you would like an extra blanket. We have plenty. In Shavasana, like our meditation, I invite you to notice the space between your thoughts and try to spend some time there. So we are somewhere between awake and asleep, hanging out in the space between. Slowly begin to move your fingers and your toes. Bringing your awareness to your breath. And breathing in and breathing out at your pace. Slowly inviting movement into your fingers and toes, your arms and your legs. Allowing these gentle movements to gently wake you up, bringing new movement, new opportunity. Walking your feet in towards your lower back. And slowly rolling over to your right side. And just taking a moment here. Noticing the support you may be feeling. Ever so slowly rolling up one vertebra at a time, letting your head be the last thing to rise. And we'll move right into our integration meditation. I invite you to notice. I invite you to notice what stands out most from your practice today. And what was most significant. And notice, how does this show up in your life or not? And what is the connection between your experience on your mat and in your life? And I invite you to notice what your inner wisdom has to say. Perhaps you might connect with your higher self. And as you connect with your higher self, I invite you to listen deeply and receive the wisdom that can only come from within. If your higher self could offer you some guidance or wisdom today, what would it say? I want to thank you all so deeply for showing up, for doing this work so beautifully with me. And I invite you to acknowledge yourself for this work that you're doing. And I want to support any evolution that you may be experiencing as you are on this journey, and understand that it's all welcome. We have gratitude for all of it, however it may be showing up for you today. It is an honor to hold space with each of you. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. Thank you so much. I've shared a poem that actually was shared with me from Rebecca, and it's called Talking to Grief, and it is so beautiful. And I would have loved to incorporated that into the Dharma talk, but I forgot. So no, but it's here for you to take with you, and I'm just so thankful for you all. Thank you. Gosh,
That's really beautiful.
that was beautiful. Wow. Oh my goodness. I hope it was recording. Yes, it was. Good.